Hello, my name is Stuart Harrison. Back in 2004, I moved into a house with my sister and her husband, and at the time they had 3 boys and a very young daughter, a newborn daughter. I moved into a room downstairs while all of them were in rooms upstairs. This was a 3-story house, also had a basement. For the first couple weeks I lived there, I always heard sounds upstairs at night, like people walking around, and also heard doors shutting, and I heard baby crying. And at the time, I just thought it was my sister and her kids walking around, or the baby crying and stuff like that. So I didn't think much of it. And one day I was talking to my sister about the baby crying at night. And she said to me, I thought she was crying that night too. And I went to check on her, and she was not crying at all. She was in the crib not crying at all. And I know I heard someone crying, so that was weird. So I went back to bed. And a little while later on, I heard a door shut. So I just assumed one of the boys had gotten up. So I went out and checked, and there was no one out there. The boys were still sleeping. So that kind of made me feel weird about the house when I had heard this stuff also, and my sister is telling me that she had heard it, but could never see my niece crying or my nephews walking around or anything like that. Well, my sister and her husband are really religious and don't believe in ghosts and stuff like that. And they go to church all the time, and one Sunday afternoon, we were working in the basement on their plumbing. We were redoing the plumbing in their house. Me, my dad, who is also very religious and doesn't believe that stuff, and my brother-in-law. So we were down in the basement, and it was getting around 3-4 o'clock, and my sister comes down, and she wanted to know if her husband was going to go to church with him that night, and he said no, they can go ahead and go to church. And so we were down in the basement, they were gone at church, and we were working on the plumbing, and it was getting about to be the time when they would be coming home from church. So we were down in the basement, and all of a sudden we heard doors open upstairs, and we heard people walking around and stuff. So I said to my brother-in-law and my dad, oh, they must be home from church. And my brother-in-law goes, yeah, we should get some food or something. And my dad's like, well, I'll order pizza for everybody. So he goes upstairs, and he's upstairs for like 5 minutes. And he comes back downstairs, and he's white as a ghost. And we're like, what's going on? Did you order the pizza? He's like, there's nobody upstairs. Nobody's home. And we're like, yeah, right. We heard him. He's like, no, there's nobody there. And so that creeped me out as well. About half an hour later, my sister comes home with all the kids, and we're like, okay, what was all that noise we heard half an hour earlier? So that creeped me out. Later on that year, 4th of July, my sister and her husband, all her kids, they left for the weekend, for 4th of July weekend, and I was at home by myself in this house. The first night I was there, I heard noises walking around upstairs, and I just stayed in my bedroom. I didn't get out at nighttime. And 4th of July night, I went out to the fireworks with some friends, and I got home around midnight, and I go into the bathroom to take a shower, and I'm in the bathroom taking a shower, and I get done, and I turn the water off, and I step out of the shower, and I'm about to start drying off, and all of a sudden I hear someone right outside the bathroom door, clear as day. Just like that. And I just froze, stood there and froze. I don't know how long I stood there, maybe 15, 20 minutes, but I was waiting to hear something and listening and didn't hear anything. And then I heard a door shut upstairs, and I'm like freaking out. So I run out of the bathroom, and I run to my bedroom, and I lock the door. So I run out of the bathroom, and I run into my bedroom. So I ran from the bathroom into the bedroom, and I locked the door behind me, and I jumped into my bed. And just like any kid would do, I got her into the blankets, except I was a 26-year-old man, so that was a little ridiculous. But I was laying there, complete silence, no lights on, and I'm listening, and sure enough, I heard walking upstairs, heard a door shut, heard a baby crying again. but I'm in the room by myself, so I'm freaking out. So there's a window in that bedroom where I can open it up and I can jump out of it. So I did that, and I run to my car. I'm going to go to my mom's for that night, except I left my keys in my bedroom. So I'm like, I guess I'm sleeping in my car tonight, and that's what I did. I slept in my car. Later on that day, my sister and her family came home, and I was telling them about what had happened, and once again my sister says, yeah, I keep hearing a baby crying too, and I keep thinking it's my daughter, and every time I go to check on her, she's never awake, and it's just really weird. So yeah, something is going on in that house. They still live there. They say they don't hear anything anymore, but I just think they pay attention. So what I think happened in that house is when we first moved into there, we gutted one of the bedrooms, tore it completely apart. And as we tore it apart, we found a bunch of papers and stuff inside the walls. Some of the papers had questions on them, like medical questions. And also there was like carriage tickets and train tickets, and there was like receipts for people buying stuff. And some of the questions that were on the one paper were referring to babies and when people thought babies were real humans. So the house that we moved into was a house that was owned by the Montague family in Carroll, which back in the late 1800s, early 1900s was a really rich family in Carroll. So what I figured happened was one of the Montague sons or brothers or somebody in the Montague family impregnated one of the servants of the house, and he decided he did not want this child because it was from a servant. It wasn't from someone rich or his wife, or if he was married, I don't know. And he wanted to get rid of this child, but the servant escaped and got in a train and escaped to Utah because the train tickets were going to Utah. But somehow the Montague guy got the servant to come back to take care of the baby, and brought her back, and he had this doctor, and he had been asking the doctor different questions about babies and when it was okay, if they were human or not, and stuff like that. And I think what happened was in that house, they were going to do a procedure to get rid of the baby, but the baby was born before the doctor could get there. And so the baby was born, and the Montague gentleman did not want the baby, so he murdered the baby, and then he murdered the wife. And then the doctor walked in on him with this grisly scene in the basement where he had killed them, and he killed the doctor as well. So the ghosts of the doctor and the mother and the newborn baby are still in the house. And that's what I think happened.
Hi, I'm Katie Cooper, and this is my ghost story. So about 4 years ago, I worked in a nursing home, and we were short-staffed one night, and me and my coworker, we were on the unit called 1R, and so we both had an entire wing to ourselves. And it was about 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was down the hall with a resident helping them out, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw something go down the hallway. And I saw it, and I kind of thought maybe somebody had walked down, but once I finished up with the resident, I walked down into all the rooms and nobody was down there. So I kind of just brushed it out of my mind, and then I walked up to the unit desk, and when the other nurse's aide finished her checks, she came up and we were talking, and she said the night before in one of the bathrooms the lights kept flickering, and she asked me if I believed in ghosts. And I kind of just shrugged my shoulders and was like, not really, but I didn't really have a good answer. And then I told her what I saw go down the hallway, and she said, oh, that's the pick-me-up ghost. And then I asked her what that was, and she told me that the pick-me-up ghost is when somebody dies, a spirit or a ghost comes to take them away. And I just kind of laughed at her, and then as we were finishing our conversation, our supervisor came up the elevator and told us that somebody had just passed away on the floor below us. And that's my ghost story.
Hi, my name is Sarah, and this is my ghost story. When I was in New York, I was about 10, maybe 9. Me and my friends like to go to this river, and pond, and beside it was this old decrepit building that we love to explore because we're children and we were adventurous. So we hopped, skipped, and jumped around the river for a little while, and then fed the ducks in the pond. And all of a sudden, my friend Jessie said, "What was that?" And there was like a floating fabric, like flowing in the wind, and we didn't see who it was. So we're like, they went in that building. So as very smart children, we were like, let's go see if we can find the person that went in there, because we didn't think anyone lived in there, and we thought, why would they be going in there? So we went to check it out. So we went into this old building slash barn slash, I don't know what else. We went in there, and there were old mattresses on the ground and like paintings on the walls, and like we shimmied across boards, balance beamed it, and we went in there looking for this person, and we saw no one. There was creaking, there was a lot of noises, we didn't know what they were. So we kept going further in and saw some creepy things. There was a painting on the wall, and we walked by, we thought nothing of it, and we made our way around the barn and then back to the same balance beam and looked at the painting again on the wall, and there was now a knife in the painting with blood trickling down. It was just dripping slowly, and so we're like, what is this? What is happening? We saw this floating fabric again, like out of the corner of our eye. Never saw what it actually was, and all of a sudden this painting has blood dripping in it. And so we get out of there, we run back to our parents. We're like, what is this? We tell them all about it. My parents, my friend Jesse's parents, all decided to go to the barn and check it out. They scolded us for being in the barn in the first place. Don't ever do that again. So they all went back. This is probably, I want to say, no more than half an hour later, and there are no mattresses. The place is cleaned out, no paintings on the wall, no knife in the picture with blood trickling down, and there was nothing. And so our parents actually believed us, and they thought it was really creepy, and there was no explanation. We don't know what happened. And that is where we left it.